A few years back, Snoop did an interview at the Breakfast Club.
Yes.
And he spoke about, he was asked if Tupac would be considered a clout chaser if he lived in today's era. And Snoop was like, no. He was like, no. And the reason why, he said, was because you heard about Tupac from word of mouth. And then he gave an example of some dudes trying to jack Tupac. And Tupac having to get down on him and pull out on him. Did you ever hear about anything like that?
I never heard, but I wouldn't be surprised, because Pac was despite what people say, like Pac would never, he would defend himself, you know what I mean? So it sounded like something in his character, it sounded like something that, you know what I mean? People used to always test Pac, always try to test him. I seen some interview, I forget, with one of the Bay Area rappers where back in the day, before Pac blew up, they tried, he was like, man, we rushed a club because Pac was with the governor. It was a rapper named the Governor from the Bay Area. And they was like, Pac was on stage with him. We rushed the club and we started fighting. And Pac, it was probably 20, 30 of us, and he stood his ground, picked the mic pole up and was swinging. And this before he was Tupac, you know what I mean? So he always was, from what I know, he's a person that sound like him.
Yeah.
Sound like him.
Okay.
If he got a gun on him, he definitely pulling out and it won't hesitate to shoot to defend themselves. And this is what people need to realize, that when we talk like this, we're not calling to violence, you know what I mean? But I'm down with people being able to defend themselves. It's very important to differentiate the two, you know what I mean? Rather, you got people that's going around messing with innocent people, and I'm not talking about that, but I think every man have a right to defend himself and his family,
Yeah, real shit. Yeah, me too, man. But I just thought that was a wild story that I just never really heard about.
Yeah, I never heard about it, but it's not surprising.
Okay, and now Tupac's filming all these movies. He's doing all these things, man. What are you guys' kind of role at this point? But before he goes to prison and everything.
Before he go to prison, at that particular time, before he went to prison, we was around him, but we was always like the young guys holding him down. Okay. Because I really was fresh from the streets, from the block, right with Pac, you know what I mean? So he was treating us like he was his younger brothers. He was giving us game, and we always was strapped around him, like we was holding him down like that, And even when we started rapping, Pac always, he didn't really want us to be too famous. He wanted us to be at a certain level, but still the dudes that hold him down. It was very,
Okay, and Tupac was like, I'll take care of everything.
We was living with him. We was like his young brothers. He was taking care of him. Right before he died, he had a plan to put an album out with us. He was gonna start Machiavelli Records, for example, and he was gonna he was gonna purchase a bunch of land in Atlanta, and he wanted to build a compound. And he was gonna build a small house for each and one of us. That was his plan before he passed away. So he was gonna, it was gonna evolve eventually. But before that, we were just like his young dudes that's hanging around him, and just enjoying the life,
Yeah, I bet you guys had some wild parties.
Yeah, it was crazy back in the day, bro.
Is there anything you could talk about?
Nah, I don't like to go in details and that type of stuff because I don't agree with it now, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But I can definitely say it was a crazy life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't, the only thing I miss from there is the camaraderie and the brotherhood that we shared,
Okay. Well, November 30th, 1995, Tupac was shot at Quad Studios. What was his thoughts on the whole situation?
When he got shot, I was in Atlanta. I remember he called the house. He checked himself out the hospital, called the house. He spoke to his sister, spoke to Edie, spoke to Gaddafi, Castro, and he gave me the phone. I was new at this particular time. And when I got the phone, and she gave me the phone, his sister, and the first thing he said is, you didn't think I'd let them take me away from you so soon. I'm shocked at this because I'm like, man, this dude just got shot. I'm new to the family, but he worrying about us and how we reacting with, you know what I mean? And that's how the type of person Pac was. He wasn't a person that was sad and depressed, and he the type to get shot and tell jokes 5 minutes later. But when we went to New York, that's when things started unfolding, and that's when I guess he started really thinking about what really happened to him. So a lot of people also have to realize Pac, he passed away not really knowing who was behind it. You know what I mean? And he really passed away. Now, you hear so many different rumors. Some people say Haitian Jack was behind it, but it come to find out that one dude who got arrested recently, he snitched on everybody. He said Jimmy Henchman did it. So when Haitian Jack was really going around saying I had nothing to do with it, he really was being honest, because the dude that shot Pac and robbed him, I believe he got murdered. He got life in prison. He started saying, well, Jimmy Henchman did this. So people started talking, so Pac died not really knowing what was happening. It was cloudy. He knew he was around a bunch of shady people, so he didn't know who to say, done it. You hear all types of rumors.
I seen somewhere that Little Sean was part of Bad Boy. Is there any truth to that? Do you know?
Little Sean, the rapper from back in the day, I don't think he was with Bad Boy. I think he was being managed by Andre Harrell, and they was all connected somehow.
Because that was the rapper Pac was on his way to see.
He was on his way to see that dude, and some people say even then he was blacking out on Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell and Jimmy Henchman is cool. You know what I mean? So, you hear so many different stories, but one guy, I read an article on some dude who pretty much said everything. And, like, I got the jewelry, Jimmy Henchman told me to do this, so it came out,
Right. I remember that.
You know what I mean?
So a while ago. That was pretty crazy when it happened.
Yeah,
when he came out with that.
Yeah, everybody was shocked. So when Haitian Jack was like he had nothing to do with it, he was really keeping it, he was being honest, you know what I mean?
Were Jimmy Henchman and Haitian Jack tied in together?
I don't even think they like each other, you know what I mean? I think they not together, you know what I mean?
Tupac gets shot, and he goes to court, and I heard that the judge offers to push the case back a while.
I'm not sure about that.
You didn't hear about that? Okay.
Because he was going to court like bandaged, couldn't even walk at the beginning in a wheelchair, and they sentenced him not too long after that. So I don't even think his wounds was 100% fully healed, and they still sent him to prison. So imagine you going to prison. I'm not sure how much after, but it was a short period of time from him getting shot to going to prison. Imagine that. You know what I mean? Like they could.
So he was probably still recovering.
He's still recovering. Then you go into prison. It's dangerous inside of the prison. You know what I mean? So, but I know before that we went to LA, we went to New York. And he was hiding out in Jasmine Guy House. And that's when he started hearing, you know what I mean? I was there when Jimmy Henchman sent the message. Like Big Stretch came and said, Jimmy Henchman said, you don't got your money right, you don't want to go to war. I remember it like yesterday. Because I'm from the streets. So when I hear that, I was looking at Pac like, man, how can Stretch say something like that? He's supposed to be your boy. You know what I mean? And that's why Pac said it in one of his songs. He was like, now I got my money right, I want war. I'm sure he never forgot that. Imagine you lying on the sofa, shot up, and your homie, or who's supposed to be your homie, sending you messages from Jimmy Henchman.
Yeah, that would be a little off.
Yeah, it was crazy, bro.
Against all odds.
Yeah.
And he even takes a shot at Jimmy Henchman.
Yeah.
Payback Jimmy Henchman in due time.
Yeah.
So there was definitely some sort of issue going on right there.
There was some issues. And a lot of people also have to remember, Pac died at 25 years old. You know what I mean? I'm 44. He was a kid, bro. So when you at that age, you're gonna say whatever you want to say. You know what I mean? And you're gonna probably react on certain emotions. But he was young going through all of that.
Yeah, man. It was. Yeah, I remember it was wild.
It was wild
stories
time.
and.
Yeah, it was crazy, definitely.